All right. Good evening, race fans, and welcome. The virtual Nürburgring, Germany, where the drivers of the Sunday Night Skippy Racing League are going to take to the track on the Nordschleife, aka the North Loop, aka the Green Hell. And I promise you that's the last time I'll attempt to speak German tonight. Tonight's action is brought to you by the CavOK Racing Network. We are simulcasting on both YouTube and Twitch. So just search for the CavOK Racing, that's CAVOK, and look for our logo if you'd rather be watching on the other platform. Joining me tonight to call the action around this nearly 13-mile monstrosity is, of course, my partner in crime, my better half, Megan.
Good evening, everybody.
And fan favorite Riley will be joining us tonight as well.
Well, I don't know about fan favorite, but thank you so much for having me out again this week. I've really enjoyed commentating this fantastic league, and I'm excited to see some great racing out here on one of the most difficult tracks, if not the most difficult track on the planet.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. This is going to be fun. Speaking of fun, after an illustrious debut in the broadcast booth with us last week, Ian will be joining us, broadcasting today from the comfort of the cockpit of a Skip Barber Formula 2000. Welcome, Ian.
Hey guys, I'm glad to be with you. I'm just about to enter the carousel, so give me a...
All right, we'll give him a second. And that's all right though, because let's talk a little bit about the track, which demands a little bit of attention here before we get to the drivers themselves. We've got a 12.83 mile course, I guess you'd call it. It's got the nickname the Green Hell for a very good reason. It's got a lot of history, and we're excited to see this. We had to change the way that we do the qualifying and practice and all that because of how long it is. It's taking over 8 minutes to do a lap. So instead of a practice and an open qualifying session, we went straight into an hour and 20 minutes of open qualifying before we start the race, so people could get a clean lap down. And let's see. Track conditions are pretty good for today. A nice cool track at 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Puts that 65 degrees on the ambient temperature. Nice light winds, so shouldn't really be a factor there. But this track doesn't need any help being difficult to get around. And I know, Riley, you were unable to make a lot of laps around this track as I was this past week. Is that right?
Yeah, I actually only hopped into a couple practice sessions. I didn't do a lot of practice here. I just kind of took the week off and relaxed. I didn't do a lot of racing this week, but yeah, there's a lot to be said about how difficult this track is to race on.
So let's take a look now then. We'll get rid of that race information for you, and let's see if we can't check in with Ian here as we go race mode on the overlay, everybody's favorite. Track map as well.
Well, you're now catching up with me going into the second carousel. Don't know what is with you guys.
We timed it right.
But that's in and out. So I'm just about to get on to the extremely long and very boring back straight, or the straight that takes me down to the start-finish line. And really, this is just an easiest part. I'm relaxed now. I'm in fifth gear, getting up to 125 miles an hour, which is just about as fast as one of these little skippies will actually go. And I can look around a little bit, and I can see over to my right, the old Nordschleife Castle, or the Nürburgring Castle, nestled behind the trees. And then down in the valley, you can see the vineyards as I sort of whistle past a 70 mile an hour sign at 119 miles an hour, which is kind of fun.
Well, we're riding along board with it here, Ian, so we'll go up past the start-finish line. What I did notice, I popped in on a couple of public races, just as I was testing things out on the overlay. To your point, this is nice and relaxed here, but if you're going side by side, this looks like where a lot of people were trying to make that one last-ditch effort to try to get across that start-finish line. A lot of crashes.
All right, here we go. Start finish line. Let's see if I can actually get a lap in.
Well, good luck to Ian. Right now, Pete Mobran's set the standard there at 8 minutes flat. 8 minutes and 7:33, which is a good 3 seconds faster than the second place Chris Herrera at the moment. We'll let Ian do some of that as we go down. Let's check in with Pete here, see what he's up to. Now, Megan, we were looking at some paint schemes earlier. I know that's kind of become your thing for, being a good judge of what's hot, what's not. So, what do you got for us?
Well, we'll notice that Pete and newcomer to the league, Michael Stovbauer, they actually are running the same paint scheme, which to me would indicate that they're on a team. No indication that we know that for 100% certainty, but it seems logical at least. And they're running a pretty hot paint scheme, I think. In addition, there were a couple of some interesting ones that we've got going. Moffitt, if you could pull up if he's on track. Yep, Jack Moffitt. He's got a pretty neat paint scheme going on here. On the right side, it actually looks like a cat eating a Pop-Tart or something. Not entirely sure what that is. But I appreciate the ingenuity, some rainbows, some pink. I'm assuming that's for me. I'm gonna at least think that it is. So I appreciate that.
Wrong with that?
Exactly. And then Tretiak, however, I apologize for however I'm butchering all of these names. I think he may be in the pit. But he's got a sweet. This is probably one of my favorites. Definitely.
So Megan, I'm rocking a new paint scheme just for you. Okay.
Thank you. I actually have you on my list to talk about. Tretiak has got his gray camo. He's got the Team Torpedo on the side there. That's pretty neat with the shark teeth in the front there, which is pretty cool. And yeah, as Ian mentioned, he's got a pretty slick paint scheme that we were noticing how shiny it was as we were checking it out. He's got Barefoot Racing on that side there, which is really neat. We love the emojis on it, and as of course the Barbados flag we really like at the top there.
I mean, if you're looking for a couple extra seconds off your pace time or off your time, I'd say a paint scheme like that is definitely going to help you get there, Ian. Nice job. That is slick. Looks nice and polished down as well. All right, let's see. What's going on with Chris Herrera? So, actually, you know what? Not to give the game away, but I kind of wanted to also run through our picks here. We'll start ladies first, obviously, with Megan.
All right, so my winner for tonight's race is James Hauser. Pretty obvious choice here. He is one of the lead front runners. Season stats on him include, I wasn't prepared. Chris didn't warn me that we were going to be doing this.
Flexibility. Here we go.
Yeah. So he averages a start at 4th. An average finish is 2nd. He has 1 win under his belt, so I felt pretty confident choosing him as my winner for tonight. Dark horse I've got is Torbeck. Reason for that choice, not only just because he's also got a slick paint scheme in his Mountain Dew car, but also because he's pretty consistent. And then finally, my lottery ticket is Scott Dawkins. Shout out to his fantastic paint scheme, which is just insane. And anybody that will drive around in a car looking like that on a paint scheme just for me, well, he's got to get a shout out from me.
All right, not shabby picks, I would say. Let's move on to Riley. What you got, bud?
All right, so I've got Pete Mabrotten at the top of the list as my winner. I've watched him race a crazy amount of laps here this week. He's been going nonstop, and it's showing currently on the qualifying pace as he's got 3 seconds on Chris Herrera, who is currently in second. Pete just kind of seems to have this track. He kind of seems to have this track down. He's learned every corner, and I would expect him to run away with this tonight. I don't know if that'll happen with the draft, but I think that Pete is a good shout for winning tonight. Moving on to my dark horse, I've got Steve Dewar. Through talking to him throughout the week, I learned that when he first started iRacing, he didn't feel like he wanted to hop into the public sessions yet. So he got the Nordschleife here, and then he hopped in a Skippy, and he said he's done hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of laps just by himself in this car on this track. So I think that Steve Dewar could pull this one out tonight with the track experience, and I do believe that he knows what every single piece of graffiti on the track says through his vast experience. With the green hell, and then my lottery ticket is actually going to be Sean Trediak. Chris, doing some investigative work throughout the week, actually found out that Trediak has actually driven the track in real life, and so he's been out there in Germany. And he had the opportunity to go around the track and experience it in all its glory for himself. It looks like he got to drive a GT86 as a rental car. He actually had some issues with it, but he ended up getting it changed out for another car. And he got to spend a few days out there driving around the track for tourist far. German's hard. Touristfahren, which is where the general public can go out on the track and enjoy it. And a fun fact about the Nürburgring is that it is actually a toll road, so that the general public can go out and they can pay about $35 US, and they can actually go out there and drive whatever car they want around the track. And another interesting thing about that is that it actually still falls under German road regulations, and it is not the Autobahn. There's actually posted speed limits, and you can't pass on the right during Touristfahren.
There you go. Well, I'm sure Sean will be able to tell us all about how that all works. Hopefully we can get him in the booth after the race. All right, under my picks there, I think Chris has broken my heart. Probably one too many times, but I'm going to roll it one more time for him here. Chris Herrera, strong finisher, running quite a few. I mean, he's been getting after it as well in the public races from what I could see. So I think if there's anybody who could take advantage of either the draft or just maybe like some unfortunate luck for one of the other faster guys, or fortunate luck for him, I think it's Chris. I too went with Steve is probably just way too obvious of a choice, just because of the number of laps that he's put in here, the virtual Nürburgring. But he's had this date circled on his calendar. He's ready to go, and I look forward to seeing what he can do here. And then this one, I got to imagine. So this is embarrassing if he's not new, but Michael Stogbauer. First time I've been seeing him, he rolls into the league here rocking the same paint scheme as Pete with the over 4,100 I rating. I got to imagine this guy's bringing something here. So we don't know much about him, but I'm curious to see if he can maybe dethrone some of the kings of the league, and that is my lottery ticket for today. As we tick down to closing in on 6 minutes left in the open qualifying session, who haven't we had a chance to look at yet. Let's check in with Lyndall McMurphy. Nope. What happened to Lyndall? Oh, all right. Oh, never mind. How about Don? What's Don up to? Here we go. Don in the honorable mention for me with the Rust Bucket paint scheme. That's one of my perennial favorites. Looks like he's put up an 807.235. You can see the tight grouping. You know, so you got the Pete, then Herrera and Hauser, Torres, and then it's pretty dang close all the way from there down to 13th. And of course we've got. Oh, we already looked at Moffitt. I apologize. Mike Bowers. Here we go. 76 and Mike Bowers putting in a top 10 qualifying effort right now. He's also one of those guys that, you know, any given week, you just never know what he can do. So, strong finisher normally. And I'll tell you what, a lot of this is just going to be consistency being king and staying out of the out of the grass and out of each other's way. Jonathan.
We can also. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
We got Jeff Torbeck. I don't think we've shown so far. He's in the Mountain Dew car. The way the Skippy's designed, it almost looks like he's driving a can of Mountain Dew around the track.
Yeah, that's not wrong. That's a pretty slick scheme there from a design perspective. And he's sitting there in the 15th position, but it looks like he's going to be having some competition around him as well. And you just never know. Some of these, you know, you put, like Ian was saying earlier, it can be frustrating, right? You get one incident and your whole lap is kind of done for. So that's why we went with an hour and 20 minutes of open qualifying. It's really hard to tell if these laps are super representative of race performance or not.
Well, I just managed to actually get an entire lap in, and I've got a time, which is pretty rubbish, but I've got a time.
You set a time. It's better than I could do. We'll just put it that way. So well done there. I think that's a compliment. I'm not sure. We'd also like to welcome Nikolai Wood to the league here. We chatted a little bit earlier. I kind of liked his paint scheme. It was a Red Rider IPA sponsor, which I thought was pretty cool. Like he's hailing from Canada, but
I haven't heard of the Red Rider IPA before. Personally, as an IPA fan, always looking for a new one.
Red Racer. I'm sorry, Red Racer. So it's on the nose. He's from Ontario, Canada. It might be a microbrew.
It's out of British Canada.
Gotcha.
The distillery.
British Columbia
hold on.
Or British Canada? Okay, we're looking it up.
We're looking it up.
So Nikolai's a big 1F fan, F1, whatever that race is called. Big Formula One fan. He used to iRace back in the mid 2015-ish to 2016. This is his second Skippy season back from a break from iRacing. He has done, or still continues to do, real life drag racing as well. In a 650 horsepower 69 Chevy Nova that's got a 383 Broker engine in it. So he's got the real world, not Skippy experience, but I mean, those things run 2 seconds for their 0 to 60 times. So that's pretty dang impressive. I think if he can handle some of that machinery, he's got this simulator thing hopefully down pretty pat. So we'll see what he can do.
Okay, Red Racer is a hoppy IPA brewed to benefit the ALS Therapy Development Institute. This ale is hopped with a custom blend of, I'm not saying any of those things, experimental hop varieties of sorts, along with over 140 other breweries across the USA. Bear Republic Brewing Company donates a portion of Red Racer IPA sales to ALS research.
There you go. Excellent. Well, that sounds like a good beer and a good cause, all wrapped into one. So thanks for joining us, Nikolai. Samuel Bridges as well here in the 910, or wait, the 22. Looking at the wrong column there. Running the 22 car. He's put down again 19th place time at the moment. I believe he may be new as well. I don't know if we've had the pleasure of calling a race for him before. And we'll check in with Jeffrey Schloss. Sorry, I'm having a tough time speaking tonight in the 023 car for Jeffrey Schloss. He has yet to put down a good time, but looks like we're sitting right now at 24 racers, not including Riley. 25. Looks like Vince Ball made it into the party here. I don't think he'll have a huge issue with.
I'm sorry, I have to go back to the beer because this is where I'm focused. I find this interesting because apparently the Red Racer IPA is known here in the U.S. as Red Betty IPA. I find that fascinating. And it is out of the Central City Brewers, which is in British Columbia. So, hail to Canada.
There you go. Oh, Canada.
Hey, Sean, that was really quiet.
Oh.
Check.
Oh boy. I may have the in-race audio on accident here. I may have to go in and turn that off. I don't know how I'm able to hear that, to be honest with you.
No valor.
There we go. All right. As much as exciting as it would be to listen to the drivers, probably not great for our broadcast rating. Who else is out on the track right now? Looks like we've got a pretty good field. Edward Torres. I don't know if we've covered the 14 car too much. Sitting in the 4th position right now as qualifying has come to an end. Open qualifying, the way it works, if you're out on the lap though, when the time comes to an end, you are able to finish. So we'll see who else is able to come across. Looks like McMurphy's still out there. Quite a few people actually. So one last chance. Put down a hot lap.
Well, I decided to call it a day because I didn't think I was going to get much more better than I did. So we have what
had enough.
It's just, never flipping ending. You just keep going, and it's like, oh my god.
Well, I have high hopes for you. Again, the qualify. Oh man, it looks like I don't know if Lindahl may have scraped the edge there. Tough to say. Again, qualifying times not necessarily predictive of the race performance. Oh, looks like we may have just a slightly more time until qualifying's over. Is what I'm getting. We'll see how that goes. I'm wrong about that, but his lap. Oh, I guess that's okay. Yeah, around 10 minutes until qualifying's over, mainly because we're getting people still finishing up the laps here. Scott Dawkins still out. Like he's coming down the final stretch. So one thing that really interested me, I'm relatively new to the road racing scene. In an oval, the don't typically have names associated with them. So I thought that was pretty cool. And obviously, the older the track, the more history there is behind it. So I'm hoping to hit a couple of those as we go throughout the race. Obviously, the Nürburgring has a ton of history behind it, and it's a lot of fun to watch people race. Not so much to do it yourself. I'm sure Ian can attest to that at the moment.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Some turns to look out for, specifically that I'm going to be keeping an eye on is the berg work or the mine. It's been responsible for some fatal accidents there in the past, but it's basically a sharp right hand corner coming after a long fast section, so we'll try to call that out. Cars are going around it. The carousel, which is very famous. You saw in one of them, the smaller one. There's a larger carousel that you may have seen in pictures before, kind of the concrete double tiered beeping left-hander. Right. So Riley, what do you got? We're gonna be watching for specifically tonight.
I think the most important thing about tonight is making sure that people aren't pushing their cars too hard, because one mistake at this track can be the end of your race. So I think that a lot of guys are going to maybe test their car just a little bit too much on the first half of the lap. And obviously we don't want to see anyone go into the wall or anything, but I think they might just get a quick, oh, all right, we're going to back off for a little bit. You know what I mean? And just make sure that everyone's staying safe out there. There's a lot of opportunity for mistake at this track, and we're hoping to see as many cars finish as we can and some good clean racing all the way through the pack. I know that's a pretty generic response, but I think that
I mean,
with a track like this, that's just really emphasized is just making sure everyone is trying to have good clean racing.
The biggest problem
Yeah,
with this track is because it's so long, you lose where you are on the track. So you're not sure what the next corner ahead of you that you can't see is going to do. So you don't know where to put the car to start with, and you don't know what gear to be in to secondly. And then there's 2 or 3 areas that look really similar to each other that you get confused as to which one of them, and they come one after the other, and you get confused as to which one you're actually on.
yeah, that I was just gonna say that, talking to Steve Dewar before, and I think he's got something crazy, 800 some odd laps on it, and he's just starting to feel. I mean, he likes the track and he feels comfortable on it, but that's how much it takes to kind of get into a flow here, as opposed to most of the other tracks we run, are obviously much shorter, and getting into a rhythm, is something that happens, I'd say, relatively easily. But here, to your point, it's got to feel, unless you're running hours and hours and have a lot of experience, and can anticipate constantly on the edge of your seat. We're like, oh wait, is that turn or is that this turn? And I got to imagine having a track map up isn't going to help you anyway, because there's not going to be enough granularity in it to see to know which turn is what.
I mean, a track map will probably give you a bit of a heads up, I think, a little bit. But yeah, you're right. I mean, these corners, some of them just come after you, one after the other after the other. A lot of them are off camber, downhill, which adds to the difficulty.
Well, it appears as though, I don't know what you're showing on the driver side there, Ian, but looking like qualifying may be over officially.
Yeah, I've got 4 minutes 10 seconds to go.
Minutes in. All right. Well, we'll wait for those qualifying results to come out, but you see the unofficial results sitting there in the timing tower. Like Pete's taken, nobody was able to come close. Ron and Herrera and Hauser, actually Torres as well, kind of locked in and right there, with Mobron just kind of running away with the qualifying lap. So really impressive. Can't believe he almost 8 minutes. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing here quickly before we grid up, is that incident last week between Luis Morga and Jonathan Dockery that we were kind of baffled by, where Luis Morga had brake checked Jonathan Dockery through point accumulation. Jonathan Dockery is actually going to be starting from the pits today. So he did qualify 12th, but he will be coming out of the pits for the start of the race.
That's a good catch there, yeah, and that's something that the league enacted just to not intentional per se, but just to kind of give a sense of weight to incidents that occur on the track, and the intent is that we're all learning as we go, and not to just kick people out per se, but to make sure that people are the racing just becomes cleaner moving. That'll be actually, to be honest with you, if I were running this race, I probably would be opting to try to start from the. It may not be too bad for him.
So it looks like maybe they'll advance the session here. We have about 2 minutes left before we'll grid up. I'd imagine we don't have any cars out on track, so we should grid up here relatively quickly.
Well, I'm looking
The
forward to
countdown
this.
time- Sorry, go ahead, mate.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was just going to say the countdown timer is now at 1:46, so we should be knocking it back down fairly.
Awesome. And I will say this too. Oh, not streaming both. Okay, we may have a slight issue with our YouTube. I'll try to work on that while we talk here. But yeah, we'll look into that. Anyway, I will say we're trying to be more interactive. So if you are, we'll look into the YouTube here real quick, see if we can't get that pulled up. But if you're on Twitch, and leave a comment, we'll try to interact. And I actually missed that. Sounds like it looks like Carrington's checking in. Scenic tour of the German countryside with commentary. Absolutely, man. A good drive spoiled, as they would say. But we apologize to any people trying to tune in on YouTube. We'll see if that's not working. That's working. Okay. I just have bad information on my thing. So you can make
it's working.
Perfect. We'll get if you make a comment on the live stream on either Twitch or it'll pop up here for us to check out best we can.
Looking like about 20 seconds to go.
Awesome. So we've got 21 cars that were able to put down a good time. Like 25 total will take the green flag.
This should probably be the most interesting race we have all season, without obviously any championship implications towards the end when it'll start getting interesting. But this will be a lot of fun to watch. I'm excited. As the grid is so large, some of them are starting on the back straight.
Well, we'll take a look here. It looks like it is official. Mabran on the pole, with Herrera joining the front row there. Then we've got Hauser and Torres, Rich McMurphy, Parks, Moffitt, Bowers, and Dance round out your top 10. Weiss and Dockery, Dewar and Wood came up there. Dawkins and Torbeck, Hartley and Worrell. Nice job there, man. Center pack. Trediak and Bridges, Ashe, Dogbauer, Ball, and, well, Riley Martin, who will be in the booth, so probably don't got to worry about that. But
Well, I'm getting a grid countdown. I could plug my wheel in real quick.
hey, man, you never know. You could pull it out.
You should do this next time, Riley. I'll sit in the booth. You can sit in the car.
I don't think I'd be saying. I think you'd hear a lot of frustrated grunting More than talking.
Don't talk to me. Driving here.
Yeah, I'm a bit like Kimi Räikkönen when I get in the car. I'm like, don't talk to me. I know what to do.
Well, I'm going to have the pleasure of listening to you guys discuss all the different people and what they're doing while I'm trying to do what I'm doing.
I just want to say thank you for calling it a pleasure.
We'll see.
That's...
Let's see at the end of the race.
What is this Ian Worrell guy doing in the carousel?
This is first
Yeah,
time driving.
dying quietly. There's a blue car ahead of me that's blinking on and off all the time.
Well, you don't like to see that. Looks like we're getting ready to go green. There it is. Away we go. Let's see how it works out. It's fairly organized to begin the race. Riley, looks like to your point, everybody just kind of said, "All right, we're not gonna win this race in turn one, but we will lose it." So right out here and.
Lyndall McMurphy was able to just get out of the pit lane. And it looks like we just had Jack Moffitt crash.
That.
And he just had to tow.
Yep, that doesn't look great for him. See if we can't take one more ride along with him and see what happened. It looked like he got a little bit of counter steer in there.
Lucky on a track so narrow, not to collect any other cars as he went. And it looks like Jake O'Shea has also just gone off.
Yeah, and to your point, these cold tires are not doing the drivers any help. Looks like he was able to not contact anything though, so be good for him. Gets back on track. End of the tail at the moment, but otherwise unscathed.
Oh, and we've got a crash. Nikolai Wood has gone around.
Okay, so I've just had to tow.
Got checking with Ian too. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if
yeah,
I don't know if
Ian
someone
in the
tapped
background.
me.
Oh, everybody
I don't know if
got
someone
in that
tapped
one.
me or what happened, but I was suddenly going.
Alright, well, we'll take a few looks at this. It looks like Jason Weiss may have gone off track. He was trying to save it and just could not get slowed down in time. Collects Nikolai. Look at happened to
Well, I'm
Ian
going to be
here.
sitting here for about 8 minutes now, so.
And it looks like Trediak just had an issue and he
Oh.
is towed.
Yep, we'll think he may have been an unfortunate. Tried to get out of there, but wasn't meant to be.
You are right, Carrington. It is pure chaos out there right now.
Good call by Ian there, though, to get into the reverse gear as fast as possible to get off the track.
Oh, I got a wheel in the dirt. That's what threw me off.
Unfortunate ending there for Bridges as well.
It
That's
looks
Sean
like
Trediak.
up at the front of the pack, we have a close three-way battle between James Hauser, Chris Herrera, and Pete Mabrotten for the lead.
It looks like Torres is able to save it on the edge there. He looks on. Looking back here from Pete's 515 machine. Chris making moves early. There you go. He pulls it out. Very good.
He heard
Looks
your
like
positive
Sean-
energy.
Looks like Sean, the 186 car has crashed because he's just appeared behind me in the pit.
Yeah, I think he was unfortunately received some damage there on your spin out.
It also looks like Jake Shea has head to toe now as well.
We've got Trediak, Worrell, Moffitt, McMurphy, Ashe, and Bridges all in the pits at the moment.
Well, it's never say die time, right?
There you go.
I'd say
At
that
least you're in good company.
it doesn't matter if it's a one-lap race around the Nordschleife or if it's a 24-hour race around the Nordschleife. It is going to be a race of attrition. You just have to stay level-headed on the track, and if you do make a mistake, just not try and get too frustrated, get back out on the track as soon as possible, and keep hitting those apexes.
You said it, brother. You said it.
Yeah, you just never know who's gonna go off track next, you know? Looks like,
Well, if I'm lucky, everybody will go off track, and we can all be back on the same lap.
Look back here, some close racing for that 6th position. Oh, yep. Bowers goes off the tracks. That gives Dance and Parks a clear path. As Stogbauer going drifting. Bowers about to lose quite a few spots there, actually. Stogbauer's up 14th. He started in the back of the pack, but he's worked his way up to 8th. Look back up here at Edward Torres. Got Bill Groombridge hot on his trail for that 4th position. Seeing these guys go back and forth a little bit.
Oh, and looks like Herrera just went off into the grass a little bit, giving Pete a big cushion now.
James goes by there. All right, well, race isn't over yet, Chris. Let's go.
Yeah, there is a lot of track left, as it looks like they're going to start coming down the back stretch for the first time here, so we're going to really see how that draft goes into effect with these drivers, because this straightaway is long enough that you can get a full draft and pass somebody just for them to draft you back and get back by. So you have to really be calculated about when you make that move with the draft.
Like Herrera and Torres, and then Torres makes a secondary move as Groombridge makes that ground back up on Herrera.
And are they going to go 3 wide up here through the corner?
Did they get it sorted? Take a look back here at the 42 car of Jeff Orbeck in that Mountain Dew can. Slick looking vehicle. He's got Steve Dewar in his sights. Little slip there. Looks like Steve's just a little bit. Got a move being made here by Stogbauer. Working his way up. Oh, and he touches wheels with Dance. He's around. He saves it. I was wrong. He saved it. That was incredible. Wow. How in the world? That was
and he
fantastic.
ends up making the move stick as well.
And he still passed him.
That was a Code Brown situation for those drivers.
I don't get what just happened there, but it was fantastic.
And it looks like there is little to no damage to either car.
Incredible. As Bowers goes around Parks, kind of. Can make it stick. No, he's off in the grass again. And he's stick off the wall, bud. There you go. Well, I'll say this for Mike Bowers. He is, he's pushing that car to its limits today.
We also
Looks
saw
like-
Dockery and Bice take an early pit. I'm going to take that quick repair to not, because you're wide open so much of this track. Losing just a few miles per hour off that top speed can really hurt your lap times.
Excellent catch. I think Dance having none of that. He's coming back here. Let's see if he can make a move. Closest rate we got going on at the moment.
Excuse me, Nikolai Wood also entered the pits along with Dockery and Bice.
Look at forward from Jonathan Dance's viewpoint. Looks like Doug Bauer is able to put some space in between cars. Up here a little further up, see James Hauser going into the grass.
It also looks like we're starting to see some of those who had to tow getting back out on track. We've got Ian Worrell. Welcome back to the track.
Yay.
Sean Trediak, Jake O'Shea, Jack Moffitt, Samuel Bridges. Did I miss anybody? Looks like those guys are back out on the track. So we have almost everyone, I believe. Other than it looks like Lyndall McMurphy might have disconnected. But everyone else is back out on track now. And we should see a good battle from those guys who had to tow on the first lap.
Agreed. I may have seen Dockery go off and then disappear. What happens there? We just checked in here with Rich Butler, who's closing in on Vince Ball for the 17th position. Those guys up pretty good amount of spots.
And although our compatriot is silent, it looks like there was just an incident between Jake O'Shea and Ian Worrell.
That's separate.
Yeah, I slid off. My own stupid fault. Cold tires.
Looks like Jake just kind of slid it in avoidance and was able to get back on without any damage.
I'm going to see if I can manage to drive all the way back round to the pits.
And while we were checking that out, Stogebauer is working on. Oh wait, yeah, Jonathan Dance caught back up with Stogebauer is what I should say. Not that he wasn't there before, but these guys remain in a tightly contested battle for the 6th position.
It also looks like Chris Herrera got by James for P3. And looks like Vince Ball and Rich Butler were able to get past Jeffrey Schloss for 16th and 17th position.
It looks like Schloss may have wrecked. Looks like he's in the pit, so the battle for 1 through 4 here is heating back up.
It looks like Pete is right on the tail end of Chris Herrera, trying to battle for that position back, but it looks like Herrera is catching up to Edward Torres. So we'll see. I believe we'll probably have that front pack all bunched up again here by the end of this lap.
And we're on board here with James from the back end of this top 4 pack. Looks like they've all given each other a respectful amount of space, understanding that they're on lap 2 of 5. Now, that is another thing I should have mentioned. The administrators made it, Ian included, so I can probably let you describe this better than I could, but Normally it's a 40-minute timed race, but just with this, the length of this track, it was decided that a 5-lap race would be appropriate. And on top of that, there will be a pit stop that is required due to a restricted fuel level. So I would say somewhere in the 2 or 3 lap range is what we expect to see the majority of people come down and make their mandatory pit stop.
It also looks like Jonathan Dockery has raced well, so we are out 2 guys so far from the track.
Looks like things have settled down a little bit. We can go through the field with Doug Bauer. Looks like he's put a little bit of distance himself and Dance back there in the 6th and 7th position. Dawkins rolling right along. He's maintained pretty clean. 4 off tracks for him so far in the top 10.
And it looks like Chris Herrera just got past Edward Torres for P2.
We're going down the backstretch here one more time. Let's check it out from the blimp.
And they're getting a great run on Pete. Edward Torres and Chris Herrera are going to go by here on the backstretch. But it looks like Edward is going to back out there, going through those first few corners after the backstretch. I'm going to go ahead and respect everybody's space as they come back here through to the finish line. Chris Herrera is going to recover from that mistake and reclaim the lead here going on to lap number 3.
There you go. What I say, 7:59, broke 8 minutes. Look at that. That's what the draft can do for you right there. Outstanding. And while that was happening, I got indication here, Michael Stogbauer, our through the field dark horse, my lottery ticket, may have had some less than ideal luck here. Let's see what happened. Just looks like he just stopped. I don't know. Did he run out of fuel?
He shouldn't have run out of fuel yet. He hasn't been running long enough.
Maybe he had a quali set of fuel that he forgot to take off. Maybe that's something we'll have to find out after the race, but it looks like Jake Shea has gone around again.
From the audio, it sounded like he was trying to restart his engine there, so that may have been what happened.
And that's one thing that differs from the real life thing here onto iRacing is you have to make sure that your setup is right and you got the right fuel load before you head in from the race because you are probably carrying a different fuel load for qualifying. So that is unfortunate there for Stogbauer. Hopefully he can get back out on track and make up some positions here before the end of the race.
And I'm just getting word, Dockery actually, unfortunately, had to go off real-world commitments. So that's why Dockery's off. So thanks for coming out and racing, Jonathan. And that was fun. Hopefully you had a little bit of a good time before you got to go off to work.
And it looks like Jason Bice has taken another pit stop here, going on to lap 3, maybe taking that fuel stop 1 lap early compared to the leaders, as it looks like Vince Ball also followed him into the pits. Or maybe it looks like Jason was going in to get more damage fixed. Maybe we missed something on that lap, because it looks like Vince Ball entered the pits and exited after Jason, and Vince was able to leave the pits before Jason. So something happening there on Jason Bice's side.
Well, he's out on the track now. Jason's running 14th. So it would help if we're not in replay either. Yeah,
I apologize.
14th.
I was reading my information wrong here. Jason Bice was able to go in and leave the pit, so yeah, maybe he did just go in early for that fuel stop.
And I apologize also. had the best time still up there from qualifying. Now we've got the gaps up. That should be a lot more helpful to the viewers, how far back everybody is. But Vice about 52 seconds back from the.
So I have to make a decision as whether or not I should go in the pits.
You got enough fuel for another lap? Oh, well, I would have another reason why you should probably go in.
That's pretty much what I'm thinking.
There you go.
I don't know how long
Okay.
these repairs are going to take, though.
You got me. You got me good.
Also, one person we have not mentioned yet, I believe Oliver Hartley. He was running there in, I believe, 9th place. Looks like he was maybe going through the Flu Plats, and just lost the car a little bit and lost his nose cone into the wall.
Well, that's going to make it a little difficult. Yeah, it looks like the nose cone and that front wing, which nose cone's probably more important. Although his ride will be a little bit cooler now, I guess. So, trade-offs.
Yeah, but he will lose about 5 miles per hour off of that top speed. So unfortunately for him, with the flat-out portions of this track, he's going to be losing quite a bit of time without that nose cone.
Sorry, we had an extra little speedy repair there.
The leaders are making their way through the carousel right now. They're still pretty tightly grouped, although James Hauser's back a couple seconds now. What happened there? Anything? Yeah, it's a good point Megan brings up. We should bring up the pit lap so we can see who's made their stop and who hasn't. Looks like Wood, Bice, Ball, Ashe. Well, I guess they're counting Ian's, Jake's from that initial lap. All right, let's actually we'll check in with Jason here again. Looks like we've got some on-track action between him and Nikolai. Jason tries to track down that 12th position. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. The hour and 40 minutes that you see on the timing tower there is just the length of the session. That's not the length of the race. So that's something I got to go in and change in the coding of it, and it's vain, so I didn't do it.
And one thing to bring up here is I believe we're probably going to see most of the field come in for their pit stop here before the 4th lap. The public sessions that have been running this week have been 3 laps long, so I imagine the fuel load that was allowed would be somewhere near that 3-lap area. Because we do, if you look there at the timing board, you can see most of the field has not pit yet.
Yeah, I was talking actually with Jason Bice, who we focused on here now, as he was able to pass Wood, but the 3 laps was out pushing it based on the 3.1 gallons, according to his analysis. I would anticipate that you are correct. Check back in here with the leaders and see they're coming up on decision time here.
Absolutely, and it looks like we have quite a bit of drama up there at the front, as Pete passed Herrera for P1, and then Torres past Herrera for P2, and then Torres got past Mabrotten for P1. So it looks like there is a huge battle as the leaders come into pit.
And it'll be interesting to see. We'll keep it on here on pit road as we watch everybody enter and exit. Doesn't come in. Looks like so far got a 100% participation rate. Probably smart.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we were seeing just about everyone who hasn't hit the pit lane yet coming in and getting their fuel and getting out of there, taking a quick repair if they need it.
And looks like Pete was able to have the quicker pit stop there.
And it looks like Jonathan Dance actually made up 2 positions in the pits, going from P8 to P6.
I wonder if he took enough fuel. Right, so Pete had a 13.7 second pit. Herrera, 16.68. Dance, actually no, Dance had a normal pit stop. Second, so I don't know, we'll see what happens there.
The pit stops really makes this live feed of all the action on the track go a little crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't quote unquote like it for sure. I just want to say hi to Jonathan Dockery, who's tuned into our broadcast after a valiant effort there in the beginning of the race on his way to work. So thanks for tuning in, Jonathan. Pete's worked his way out to a 2-second gap on Chris. Ooh, man. He had a total pit lane time almost 2 seconds less than Chris Herrera, who was somewhere between a half second and a second and a half quicker than everybody else. So pit lane time on point.
Absolutely, and I think one important thing to go over here is maybe he has a different fuel calculation, but hopefully he does have enough fuel in that race car to make it to the end of this race. I imagine he will, considering how much public racing he was doing this week.
Yeah, we'll say his actual time in the pit itself was about 3 seconds, almost exactly 3 seconds less than Herrera and James Hauser.
And it looks like James just got past Edward Torres for position number 3 on the track.
Got a battle brewing back here for that 6th position between Parks and Bowers.
Oh, it looks like actually there was an incident. Edward Torres has towed and is now in the pit lane.
Take a look back at that. I was wondering, I didn't see Torres on the... Thought maybe that was just bad information. Check it out. Oh, he hops it around the corner. It just sets his whole car off, and yep. There's no recovering from that. We'll take one more look at that. And you can see, I mean, Megan makes fun of me for being so obvious about it sometimes. It's a very obvious observation, but that consistency, these guys make it look easy sometimes, you know? Torres is a really fast driver, and if that's something, you know, just those little mistakes here and there that can cost you the entire race, and
Yeah.
so it gives you just a lot more appreciation for any, you know, guys running in the front, guys running in the middle, guys running in the back.
Absolutely, and I think
To finish the race.
And on this track, that makes it so easy. Like I said, if you forget where you are or get confused as to where you are, and you think it's going to go left and you're all set up for that and it goes right, it can really chuck you in the weeds.
And it also looks like Jason Bice just got past Nikolai Wood for P11. So Bice up into 11th place.
both of those guys recovering from some early incidents, so it's good to see them hunting down the top 10.
And it looks like
I'm wondering,
they're...
trying to figure out what happened here. We're looking back at James Hauser now. He's solid 9 seconds behind the second place Ferreira carousel. It looked like his pit lane time was out on par with every. I didn't notice that he was coming out any slower, so I can't find what happened, but.
And Ian Worrell currently heading up the pack for the lapped cars. So he is currently the top of the lapped cars. Excuse me, sorry. Ian, how's the car feeling?
You the lucky
Not
dog?
too bad. Too bad. You know, I'm a bit floaty in places, but yeah, it's working okay.
Well, keep it up. You've got your next guy there is Jake Ashe. Got a little bit of time on you at the moment, but still a lot of race left. All right, looks like everybody's kind of sorted themselves out here a little bit. Parks, Bowers, and Bice and Wood are the two battles on track for that 6th and 7th and 11th and 12th place, respectively. I know we haven't really checked in with Vince Ball. He's running in 14th place at the. Actually, I'll take down the pit stops. All done. Put in the gain so everybody gets just a little sense of movers and shakers. Looks like a lot of the call them the biggest droppers there are already kind of out of the race. But Ball has had a really good race, rising 9 positions from his qualifying.
Looks like right behind him, Butler's climbed 11 positions. If you want to take a look at him.
It's a really good race for him. He's not that this is super indicative of anything, but lower I ratings and I'd say newer guys. So that's really cool. To 15th spot, rising 11 positions. That's a solid effort on Rich Butler's part. Like he's only had 1 off track, so that's how you do that.
That's impressive. And back to your consistency.
That's what I'm saying. Speaking
So
of
as-
consistency. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, as the pack kind of starts to make their way down the backstretch for the second to last time here, as they're going to take the white flag as they come around. We actually currently have Mike Bowers going past Don Parks down the back straightaway. I believe that is for 6th position.
That is correct. They're going to work their way through the last few here as front runners. Hauser said his best time of the race, although that doesn't sound right, but whatever, there it is. And he cooks it. He cooks it. Oh no, Parks is able to scoot around, although Bowers does save it enough to maintain contact with Parks. We'll see if he can't make that back up, but
I'm sure Mike's going to be itching to get back up to that gearbox of the Rust Bucket paint driven by Mike Bowers, or excuse me, Don Parks. And it looks like Nikolai Wood was also able to get back past Jason Bice.
that is accurate. He's worked his way past and is now putting a little bit of time. Looks like Jason got just a little unsettled there going through that final set of turns. Although he does seem to be gaining back a little bit of ground in that. That's the draft or taking faster lines, but he's working his way back to the bumper of that number 6 are. So take a look back at Jason. Yeah, other really consistent drivers today. Scott Dawkins, currently running in 8th. He's got 0 off tracks. Don Parks, who we previously were just looking at, got 0 off tracks. Pete Mabrotten, of course. And then really a handful of folks with just 1. Talk about Rich Butler, Oliver Hartley, Nikolai Wood, who we're looking at right here, and Bill Groombridge. So honestly, really consistent. The most we've seen so far is 7, which is pretty good for 4+ laps around the Green Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Oliver Hartley, not trying to beat up on Oliver at all, but it looks like he did loop the car a little bit there around that final corner. But he was able to recover that and get that back on track without any damage, it looks like.
Is the broadcaster's curse. Say his name out loud.
I know, that's why I got scared when he started talking about Jason. Because he has all the luck in the world.
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything that I can do to give him bad or good luck. He just, that kind of seems it is what it is, unfortunately.
But Hartley to have spun the car a couple times in this race to still be running in 13th, that's very impressive, and it looks like he is on track here to, he's on track for a good finish.
Yeah, agreed. Be really awesome to see that. Closest racing we got right now still remains Wood, Bice, and Parks Bauer. Those 2 battles. We'll check. Actually, Ian, you're off, huh?
Yeah, I did something silly and lost it, and lost my front right wheel.
So all in all,
I mean, I don't know how I keep misplacing it, but I was driving along, looking at the scenery, and looked down, and it was sort of gone.
they have a lot of castles over there. You can't just be looking at all of them. For some reason, I'm showing Sean Trediak as having finished. That's got to be an error in the output that I have, so I apologize for that. That is incorrect. He has not finished the race yet, as far as I know. And it looks like Pete is taking the carousel for the last time this evening. A comfortable lead over Chris Herrera. Of course, now the gap information's gone as well, so I apologize for that, but the positions are correct, but for some reason...
Just to let you know, Jason and John and Nikolai are having a big fight going up the hill, coming up towards the carousel. Jason's just past Nikolai.
Excellent call. That is some good battling happening there. We'll keep an eye on that. Still got a couple minutes before the leaders take the checkered flag.
Nikolai is catching him again, and they're about to hit the right-hander just before the carousel. Very neatly through. It's going to be interesting. Let's see who can, if they get a bit closer to each other through this bit. And Jason got a better run.
They sort that out. We'll check up here with the Parks Bowers battle. Before Parks was able to actually, as I was checking in, just get a nice good off corner exit, able to put some distance. Self and Mike Bowers. It's going to take the gap there. I'm not sure what's going on. Do interval maybe. So it's not perfect, but that'll work.
Looks like right now, we haven't checked in with the 66 car of Steve Dewar in a little bit, and he is currently rounding out the top 10. Not in a battle with anyone as of right now, but I'm sure if we had him here in the broadcast booth, he could tell us what all that graffiti he's going over is saying.
That's right. Yeah. No, that's a hell of a run for Steve Dewar. That's a solid top 10 finish, and I'm sure he's living his best life right now. He loves this track. I don't get it personally, but you know what? That's awesome. I'm really glad, and it sounds like it's going to be part of the official Skippy schedule here for the next 2 seasons. So,
Sounds that way.
We'll be returning back here for the next 2 quarters in a row.
I know.
Sure
I'm not looking
really
forward.
bummed about.
Well, you know, what can you say, right? It is what it is.
So let's bring it up here to the front of the pack as Pete Mabrotten is coming through the last quarters after the back straight, and it looks like he's going to take the checkered flag as our winner here tonight in Week 6. Pete Mabrotten takes the win here at the Nürburgring. My pick to win, and congratulations to him. He ran a fantastic race.
Well, while you're lauding Pete, Jason and Nikolai are just on the back straight now, and Nikolai's drafting. He's past Pete. He's past Jason. So now Jason's tucking over and tucking underneath behind him. Dropped back a little bit and lost a few seconds on him, but he's got enough length of this back straight or the front. I don't know which straight. The back straight, yeah. And now Jason is catching Nikolai just before the bridge, and he's around him. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, he did not leave an inch of space in between those 2 cars.
He did not. Oh my gosh. But of course now Nikolai's pulling in behind Jason, and he's going to look to do a bit of a lunge down one of the corners maybe. Oh, no, he's backing it off. He's going, I'm going to be sensible. I'm not going to be sensible. Yes, I am going to be. Oh, Jason cooked it a little wide. And they're going in. Oh, they're close. He's pushing. Oh, I think it was by a front cockpit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think Bice just barely got by there, but he will take the position over Nikolai Wood. Congratulations to Nikolai Wood. Fantastic finish for him. First race in the league. He is going to finish... it's like 13th place. That's a fantastic finish for him.
12th. Nikolai is in 12th.
Oh, excuse me. Nikolai finishing 12th. Fantastic opening race for him, and welcome to the league, Nikolai Wood.
Yeah, and just as a reminder to the viewers that I'm not sure what's going on with the overlay, but obviously Sean Trediak is not in first, so you're going to have to subtract 1 for all the positions there on the timing tower. I'm sure it'll also be incorrect on our results page, but that's
Sean ended up in 18th, I think. Yeah, 18th for Sean.
Got Oliver Hartley will be the next one across the line. And I apologize. I was trying to give everybody their due across the finish line, so we will have to come back and watch that finishing final few laps. Or I'm sorry, turns, I guess I should say. As Oliver Hartley, Vince Ball, and Jack Moffitt cross the line, followed quickly by Rich Butler. And Samuel Bridges looks like he is...
I think Samuel is running out of gas.
It may be.
Yeah, he is running right out of gas.
And push it!
You got a Flintstone in hand.
He's going to have to Flintstone it. And Sean Tretiak, how do you say his name?
There he goes. He goes flying by.
He just flew past him. Not even a slow down and let me see if I can give you a bit of a tow. It was see you later, sayonara, sucker. It looks like Jake Ashe, if he really pushes hard, Might be, well, maybe even if he doesn't push hard, might be able to pick up another another position. Even though I think right now Jake is just now. Where is he? Good lord, I'm trying to figure out. Oh yeah, now coming onto the long straight. So he has a chance of overtaking Sean. Sorry,
Bridges.
Samuel Bridges. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Let's
where's
see.
Bridges?
We ride along board
Oh,
here with
Bridges is now going
Jake.
backwards. He is now rolling backwards down the hill.
Let's hope Jake sees him.
Jake
Go.
sees him and whistles past. Whistles past. Again, he doesn't even wave. Not even a thanks and see you later, mate. It's
no
like,
prisoners.
I'm out of
No
here.
retreat.
I'm gone. Absolutely. And it looks to me like he is going to be. Oh, he's rolling backwards again. Is our friend
And there's
Samuel.
poor Sam.
Yeah, Samuel. That's the wrong direction, mate. There you go.
Oh,
Put
we
the
got the
brakes on.
brakes. There we go.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
I think that is kind of it. So that should shuffle the finishing a little bit, really, shouldn't it?
Indeed. Yeah, it ain't over till it's over, right? There you go. Living proof of that. Well, that was fantastic racing. I'm going to go back and see if I can't see the final battle here. All right, we've got Bice and Wood. Oh, no, wait, that was... All right, I'm going to do something very embarrassing here and do it not automatic. I apologize for this. Very low-tech, lo-fi. That's probably... We'll back up to the carousel here. That Bice and Wood battle toward the end.
Thank you, Carrington, for the kind words. Try and bring a great broadcast each and every week.
Yeah, we try. We don't always succeed, but we try.
As you can see, the run that Nikolai got was he put a good few car lengths between him and Bice. That just goes to show how long that backstretch is that he was able to draft all the way back up to him.
Yeah, that was a lot closer than I thought. And you're right, Jason really waited until the very last second there to make his final pass. Wood got a good run, but just not good enough to break that draft. Fantastic finish by both drivers there.
Yeah, I thought that was really nicely driven by Jason. I think he knew that being such a plum target on that back straight, that the temptation to pass would be taken, and then he just bided his time and thought, you know what, I'll just wait a little bit, and then we will retake it, and we'll be good to go.
Yep. I wish I had that sort of strategy buried in me for these races. I don't, but that was fun to watch. It looks like our standings did work out all right. Pete Mobron takes the victory home. That'll be his third, I think, of the season. Chris Herrera in second. So close. James Hauser rounds out the podium with Bridge Dance, Parks, Bowers, Dewar, Torbeck, and Bice will be your top 10 today, who just barely edged out Wood, Dawkins, Hartley, Ball, Moffitt, Butler, Prediak, Ashe. Bridges, Torres, Schloss, Squirrel, nice job, Ian, Valiant, Dogbauer, Dockery, and McMurphy with Riley Martin in the booth.
Well, I'm proud to say I'm proud to say I was able to leave a little paint color on some of the barriers.
Leaving your mark on one of the most famous tracks in the world. Nothing wrong with that. That was fun to watch. Let's see right now if we can't pull in. We've got a couple people waiting on deck who want to be interviewed. We'll start with Jason. Actually, we'll work our way from the bottom of the grid up. And pull Jason. Hey Jason, it's Chris in the broadcast booth. You have a copy, bud.
I do. I'm glad you want to talk to the guy in 11th.
I mean, I gotta say though, we were just commenting on how fantastic that finish was. Oh, it looks like we may have some corrections there even too. But that finish that you had with Nikolai Wood, a brand new entry to the league. Can you talk to us about the final few turns there?
Oh my gosh, I'm thrilled to have him here. That was, I mean, the whole race, we were just, piggybacking over each other. And, I mean, that's exactly what you show up for. He was super clean. He raced hard, took some really good defensive lines that made me think. I got really, really lucky, honestly, that that I ended up taking that. So I think he was a bit faster than I was.
Yeah, it looks like he got such a good run though that it was just far enough that you were able to catch that draft and really slingshot by. It almost would have been better if it wasn't that good of a run, or even just a little bit better.
Yeah, I have to confess, I lifted just a little bit on the beginning of the that straight because I was hoping.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping I could drop him through the carousels because that was the one place on the track where I could tell I had a little bit of an edge on him. But I wasn't able to drop him. So I'm like, well, shoot, now I'm stuck here in front. And so I'm like, well, let's see if he'll pass me. And he did, thankfully.
All right, you guys got anything else for Jason?
No, that was a fantastic race. I know that you did have that incident in the first lap. Do you just catch some grass there, or was that just an unfortunate thing that happened?
That was a bummer. I mean, kudos to Steve. He did a pass on the left, and it put me on a terrible line. I mean, that corner or that little bend right there. There's one line that works well, and so kudos to him for knocking me off of it. And I hadn't practiced that outside line at all, and I felt terrible because as soon as I hit the grass, I mean, I was just a passenger at that point. So I was doing everything I could to slow down and not slide out onto the track. And unfortunately, I actually hit. I mean, it was Elijah that ended up making contact. Because I just dumped out right in front of him. So, we'll certainly have the stewards take a look at that. They should. That was no bueno. So, that aside, it was an awesome race.
Yeah, it was a great recovery, and congratulations on the 10th place finish. I believe you rounded out the top 10.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, nice job, Jason. And
awesome.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, that whole section on that outlap, we were all on cold tires, and you hit that little dip, and then into that left-hander, and the whole car is just completely off camber and in the air almost.
Oh yeah, it's unloaded, and there's no groove there at all. There's no rubber on the track. It's just terrible. So
I got a back right wheel off into the grass, and that just threw me over the track and into the wall on the other side. And I think I probably messed up somebody's race from that. But that was just terrible. Yeah.
That's my least favorite section of the entire track is that little bend right there.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
But good race, mate. It was good fun watching you and Nikolai fighting.
Yeah, it was a blast. He's great. Glad he's here.
Cool. Well, any last shout outs for you, Jason?
No, I don't think so. I'm my own sponsor.
Excellent.
So
there you go.
Yeah,
well,
that's it.
Congratulations to you and you then.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Have a good one,
right.
guys.
We'll see you around. All right. Let's see if we can't bring in the third place James Hauser. James, Chris in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey,
looks
good.
like you walked away with a podium. You talk us through the race.
Yeah, no. I qualified up there. I was kind of happy with my qualifying time. I think it was my fastest time all week, and then get in the race, and I was able to stay with Chris and Pete for a little while, and then I made a couple mistakes. I forgot a couple times where I was on the track, and both times almost ate it big time. Unfortunately, it looks like Edward Torres went off track and got some damage at one point or another, gave me third place. Otherwise, those guys were way in front of me. I was kind of surprised how fast people could catch up on that back stretch. That was really surprising when they worked together.
Yep. The we saw actually. I don't know. You probably get to see it later. The finish between Jason and Nikolai Wood. If you haven't watched that yet, I would recommend it. It's a great example of what we're talking about there. But yeah, it was good to see you guys running up front, and it was pretty exciting stuff there. Any overall thoughts for the track? I mean, we're going to be racing this for the next, I think, 2 seasons, right? Looking forward to it again, or
Yeah, I got to learn it. I mean, it's just one of those tracks has so many turns on it. I got to learn the damn thing. I lose where I am at times, and it's crazy. I think the biggest thing that I don't know is the racecraft on it. Like Pete was in the lead on the first or second lap, and I was just a little bit behind him, and then Chris Herrera and who was it, Out Torres. I mean, they were 2 seconds behind me coming out of that last turn, and they didn't have any better exit speed. I mean, I exited perfectly. Just working together though, they completely closed those 2 seconds up. So it's one of those things that if I knew a little bit more, I probably would have tried to coordinate with Pete to come back and at least pull me, and we could have worked together a little bit. But he might not have done it. But I was just really surprised on that. So I mean, that's the thing is I think once you learn the track, then you got to learn the racecraft piece of it, and that's where I got to work on.
yeah, that's fair. Ian, Riley, Megan, you got anything for him?
No, I mean, I just admire the rear end of his car as he passes me, or I just see him disappearing into the distance, generally speaking. And it's just so much, I mean, it it's so much fun to be driving in a league where everybody sort of really does it to enjoy themselves, and we've got away from all of the red mist yelling at people and cussing on the track and people dive bombing and doing stupid stuff. Well, I mean, I still do stupid stuff, but most people don't.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part. But it's just a lot of fun riding in this league. And I mean, I know you do this every time. You sort of say anybody watching, if there's something that might be interesting to you, come and have a go. This is a great bunch of folks to come and have a go with.
Yeah, no, everyone's willing to help each other. That's the thing that's awesome about it. I mean, Pete's willing to help folks. I'm willing to help folks. I mean, everyone in the league is there to help people get faster, answer questions, share setups, whatever it is. I mean, we just want to get everyone to have fun and get the most out of the car that they want to, wherever they want to be. And there's racing all over. There's racing from first. Unfortunately, this track, Pete had a lot of time on me. Chris put up a little bit of a fight with Pete for a while, but I mean, there's typically racing from the first place to nearly last place, and we welcome everyone of all different types of caliber and how long they've had experience with it. Come out here and just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's one of the things that drew me. I say this pretty much every week that we do the broadcast, but the things that drew me to the league for sure. So, if you're out there, if you happen to be just catching this, whatever reason, and it's just kind of interesting, like he was saying, just check it out. I don't think it'll be a lot of fun. You're not a Skippy and or a person, although there's a C-class entry, but still a good community to help you get there, even before you end up in the. But yeah, no. Last thing I had was it was just good to hear it, across the board, from the top of the podium down to the bottom. Losing where you were on the track was a pretty common, concern to have. So that's pretty funny to hear, and I didn't get to run it myself as much as, but look forward to it maybe next season.
Yep.
All right. Well,
thanks for what you guys do. I mean, I appreciate the broadcast and everything. I'd take a look at after the race, see how it went, and appreciate all the hard work you put into it.
Outstanding. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations on the finish, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Have a great one.
All right. James Hauser, everybody, and we got one last interview. The winner of tonight's race, Pete Mobron. Hey, Pete, it's Chris. You got a copy?
Hey, Chris, I got you.
Hey, Pete. All right. Awesome. Glad it was a little better luck. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about that, saving you for last. But hey, man, congratulations on that win. It was really tight racing there in the first half. You seem to have a 3-second faster pit stop than everybody else, though, and that kind of gave you the boost that you needed to pull away from the field. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I finally figured out how to kill the fuel in time or what happened there. I expected that to come out relatively even. I was a little surprised with the gap that I got. I did get a little bit better run into the pit entry as well. I think it was Chris ahead of me had a little bit of intimate moment with the wall on pit entry as well that I think hurt him a little bit.
Excellent. Well, uh, that was a fantastic race from start to finish. You only had one off track, very consistent. I know you'd been running it, from top to bottom. I think Riley had you as the pick for the win too. Is that right?
Oh yeah, that is correct. I did pick Pete as my winner. I did go out there doing a lot of public racing this week. It kind of seemed like every time I've
Nope. Riley's sorry man, you're cutting out there a little bit, but it sounded like he was saying that we saw you doing a lot of public racing, offering a lot of support and help on the Discord. So it was kind of an easy. The guy trying to teach the course is probably a good one to pick to win it. So if you had any recommendation, because we're going to be running this again in the near-ish future, what recommendation do you have to drivers as they go in to try to tackle Nord?
Precision is better than pace. That's this track absolutely emphasizes that, right? Like it's not worth running 10 tenths here if it makes you a little bit imprecise. If you slide around one corner, you got to pull it back, to 8 tenths or so. I think that's the big one. You have to find your rhythm, even if the rhythm's not quite as fast as you would like it to be. I had that issue tonight, even as myself, where the rear end started to get a little bit loose. Even though I think I should be able to go faster, I can't. I'm losing the rear end, so just you have to rein it in. A little bit more like doing stage rally. If you've a lot of folks play cross sims. If you're into dirt rally or Richard Burns rally or something like that, you're choosing your pace to make sure you don't have an off. 'Cause it's much more important than having that one fire lit.
Well, do you have any shout outs, closing thoughts that you'd like to tell everybody?
I wasn't prepared for that question. I'll need to have everything submitted in written form to be approved ahead of time next time.
There you
No,
go.
really, really, really appreciated the crew coming out tonight. I know a lot of people were tentative. I think it was a really good showing. I've been going through the review myself on the replay here. A lot of good racing throughout the pack. Everyone was kind of worried if they were going to be able to, make it around and have a good showing, and everyone absolutely did. So great event. Really glad that folks putting this together.
Well, we had fun watching it for sure, and it was like I said, we'll be seeing it again next season, probably the season following. So we're looking forward to see if you can't maybe make it a three-peat. I just thought of that. Anyway, thanks for that, and we'll see you around. Thanks for joining us in the broadcast booth, and congratulations on the win one more time. And we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Take it easy, Pete.
All right, let's do some closing thoughts for the race. Megan, what do you got? He's thinking.
I'm thinking because I have both nothing and a lot at the same time. And that I think is a great sum up of this track in general. It seems like it's kind of a love it or hate it situation, and it certainly was an interesting one to watch from my perspective. Definitely different than anything that we've seen in past races or that I've ever seen in kind of watching Chris do iRacing. It's definitely an interesting track. So I'll be interested to watch it the next couple quarters and see how people improve. So I enjoyed tonight's race. As always, shout out to all the friends and family who are listening or will rewatch this broadcast. Again, the more the merrier. Send out the links to your friends and family. This is a great way for people to get involved and see what you all are doing. See some fun stuff that you guys get to do every day. I enjoy watching them. I enjoy just kind of having the experience and being here with Chris and just taking some time to kind of be involved in something that he really enjoys doing. So for those that are spouses or significant others out there, family, friends, moms, dads, you may not be able to be directly with your loved ones, but this is a great way of being able to show your support and love for them when we all are in this age of social distancing. So thanks everybody for joining us, and I really love being here, and I'll see you all next week.
And I just want to make very nicely put, and I just wanted to add that Megan always talks about how she's joining being something that I enjoy doing, and I just want everybody to know that we will be repaying the favor. She's picking the activity that I will be joining her for as well, so I'm curious to see what that ends up being. I'm hoping it's not yoga, but I guess we'll see. So Ian, what do you got for us closing out, bud?
Well, let's talk a bit about yoga. The bit where you lie on your back and relax, I can do that part.
Right, yeah, the breathing
That's
part,
about
sure.
yeah, the breathing bit. I've
I've
had a
been
lot
doing
of
that for a
practice
few
of breathing.
years. Yeah.
Correct. So happy to do that. No, yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. It's a tough track. I don't think even just doing it twice or three times is gonna really make people better. You've got to go out there and hammer it and hammer it and hammer it. Is it worth hammering? It is a lot of fun. You have every single possible kind of corner you can think of on this track. You've got ones that are off camber, that are opening, that are closing, that are doing strange things that you've never seen before. That just confuse the heck out of you. So it's worth running. Um, Big shout out for you guys. You did a hell of a job again. I got to drive and listen to you. It's sort of like having the radio on in the car and hearing a show, about it, or listening to a race commentary of a Formula One race or whatever while you're driving down the road to go from A to B, which, of course, as Megan was saying, we don't get to do so much anymore. But yeah, so thanks for pulling this together. It is a lot of fun to be part of. I probably wasn't much of it this time because I spent most of my time trying to bend metal, but such is life. A lot of fun. Big shout out for anyone who might be thinking, I wouldn't mind having a go, but man, that racing thing, only a rookie, or I'm a D class license and I'm not good enough, or I don't think I am. Come to our Saturday shenanigans. Let's get a shout out on the Saturday shenanigans. I don't know who thought that up, but I had not laughed that hard in a long time.
Yeah, I think we covered it briefly as an introduction in last week's broadcast, but yeah, Saturday Night Shenanigans are very unserious attempt to blow off some steam on Saturday nights. Random track and car combinations, try to keep it free where possible. We had our inaugural last night. And it was a blast. Skippy's on rallycross tracks and super just stupid fast cars on old Daytona. So anyway, come check that out if you're interested. And yeah, thanks Ian. You did a much better job that I do normally. Only you were driving. So thanks for joining us again. That was a lot of fun to have that in race perspective as well. And Riley, what you got for us?
Can you guys hear me all right now?
There you go. Yep.
All right. So
I just got your message, but we're not gonna skip you. We're going for it.
Okay, so I'd just like to say thanks to the Sunday Night Skippy guys for coming out and participating. It's such a joy to be able to watch everyone compete at such a high level. And it's more fun to watch than it is to broadcast because these guys put on such a good show. So thank you to everyone who comes out and races in the Sunday Night Skippy League, hangs out in the Discord, just anyone who's around it. I think it's probably the best community I've been a part of in iRacing here since I've started up in January. And yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who comes out and competes. And thanks for Chris, who puts in the hard work all week to make this possible. I just pop in at the last second and talk about what I see on my screen.
Thanks. If anybody's still listening for whatever reason, if you don't know, this isn't a professional. I know I've got the YouTube and the Twitch and all that, but this is just for fun. This is just something that we do, have fun, distract ourselves, be part of the Sunday Night Skippy community. I almost see it as giving back to them because everybody's just been so fantastic, and it's solidly mediocre, and it's that way for a reason. We're very amateur. We're figuring it out as we go, but we have a great time doing it. And I got a lot of support from Megan. Obviously, she's in here next to me. It's that's I don't want to say rare, but yeah, it just means a ton to me. So thank you, Megan, and to you guys for joining and want to participate. And it's certainly not all me. So yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, and I don't think that there's anything else that you've said that I couldn't say any better. So just want to wish everybody a good, safe week, and I'm hoping to see you again either Saturday night in the race car or Sunday night for the broadcast. We'll be broadcasting from Spa, I believe, is the next race, which should be a fun one. And forward to seeing you then. Stay safe, social distance. We'll get through this together. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.